Hello everyone and welcome to the 4th edition of the virtual streams hosted by the Green Power Memes YouTube account, and today we are at the Circuit de la Sarthe, otherwise known as 24 Hours of Le Mans, and we will be doing 24 hours, a full night and day circuit. Joining me alongside in the commentary booth we have Ben as always. Ben, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Someone who is snipping on the heels of the championship lead is Jason. Jason, back again.
Hello.
And I've kind of already begged you. Are you going to do a run through of the circuit for us again?
Oh, of course. Do the next lap. Be my first fine lap of qualifying.
Well, that is something that you need to organise with our new cameraman. Nothing against you, Ben, but you wanted to race, so we have Max controlling the cameras. Max, how are you feeling?
Hello. Yeah, looking forward to it. Should be a good race.
And brand new, we're all still working this out. We're all still rookies to the idea of hosting a full 24-hour Le Mans stream. By the way, this is only a 50-minute race. A full day and night cycle, but we're not going to be sat here for a full day. That would be a bit extreme.
I think it would. I don't know about you, but I quite like sleeping.
Yeah, we would have to actually organise drivers to switch out. Unless we were doing it as some kind of charity stream, it's too much to ask. So, what you've missed during the practice sessions is Jason, I believe, was dethroned from the #1 spot in terms of fastest times by Max. If we could switch to Thomas, I'm not sure if he's out on track yet. But Jason, how are you feeling? Was that a surprise to you?
Not really, to be fair. I set like one banker lap, and then it was on to deciding the race strategy, which at the moment I'm feeling like the hard tyre will probably carry you throughout the race. It's looking like everyone's going to have to do at least one pit stop for fuel, so just deciding whether the benefit of having new tyres will actually pay off in the long run. And
is this, with the pit stops, are they able to work on the tyres at the same time as refuelling, or do they have to wait for one to be done before they start the other?
I believe that it's waiting for refueling first, and then the tyres have to go on. It's mirroring real life LMP1 cars and GTEs. And
we should also state that we do have the split. We have, from my first count, we had 5. It looks like we have 6 LMP1 cars currently taking part. We might expect a couple more people to jump in partway through. And 5 GTE cars, so quite an even split between the two categories. Ben, I'm very interested to ask why you opted for the GTEs rather than going for the Le Mans.
Well, there's two arguments to it really one can consider. It's firstly, what do you prefer driving? I'm not saying that LMP1s aren't fun to drive, but I just quite like the grittiness of the GTE, and I just love the Porsche, to be honest. The second reason is glory. I mean, if you got someone like Jason in an LMP1 car, and you have an excuse to jump to another car, and and you won't be compared to him. I think I'll take that. Thank you very much.
You spoke about the grittiness of the GTEs. Both you and Ollie was enjoying the grit of the gravel trap there, so struggling on this opening lap, I think.
Yeah, tires are pretty cold on soft slicks as well. So
it's both the Porsches going off in the same corner as well.
Oh yeah.
It is. So you've ditched your Ford car, your Ford GT.
Yeah. In all reality, that was because I didn't have DLC at the time. The Ford is a great car, it's good straight line speed, but oh my goodness,
we're
really
currently on board with you as well. Not put any more pressure
I'm really trying
on
to
you.
keep it on whilst so I'm not showing. I think it's because I don't have much of a downforce multiplier on this track. Yeah, no, the Ford GT is just I don't know, want to try something different, I guess. Porsches have always renowned for their racing capability, so I thought, why not?
And to anyone joining us, this is the qualifying. We have started with qualifying. 30 minutes are remaining. It's a very, very long outlap. And traffic can be an issue, as Ben, you've currently got a Le Mans car behind you now.
Should be able to overtake me quite easily.
You would have thought so. You would have thought so. It would have been very embarrassing if they couldn't get past you, especially going through the first corner.
Poor Ruben.
So
He's got wide there.
So over the 50-minute race, we are expecting 15 laps to be completed. And I don't know who's going to be winning this race. This is another one of those question marks. There's a couple of bollards going flying there, so I'm not sure who's in front of Ruben. But it looks like it might be Thomas.
Oh,
actually.
oops. Okay.
And Jason, just to remind you, let us know when you start your flying lap.
Yep. Unfortunately, I'm sort of running out of fuel right now. I think I'm under fuel.
Well, we've got 30 minutes, so that's well, 28 now, but that's plenty of time.
So I'm still debating whether to use hard or soft tyres. Well, Jason, you're using hards, aren't you?
Yeah, I reckon for my race strategy, I'll be on the hard tyre.
What, one pit only for fuel?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Save time in the pit lane.
Yeah. I'm kind of banking on the fact it's a longer race, that hopefully the longer pit stop is relative to the rest of the time, it's not too much, so I'm going to switch off for soft.
Oh, too deep into the Ford chicane. Rowan, unfortunately, ruining the end of his lap. And that is the real challenge with this massive circuit. You can have an amazing first sector, an amazing second sector, but you go wrong in one corner onto a gravel trap, and you're kind of back to the beginning again. It's very unforgiving. Is it Rowan again going deep? Struggling, I think, with the Le Mans car.
I actually timed that pretty perfectly, I'm not gonna lie. I ran out of fuel just after I crossed the finish line.
So it doesn't get much better than that, Jason. The time
Yeah,
of 3
that's,
minutes 16.8. Very respectable.
Yeah, that's beaten the time I set in practice by, it's like 4 or 5 tenths.
You can see
So-
Martin currently ghosting out, so contact is not currently on for this qualifying session. Everyone's out of the way of everyone else. I don't know if that also means that drafting is disabled, Jason. I don't know if you'd know.
No, so basically the way it's set up in our qualifying and practice, because it's a multi-class event, the cars will be ghosted for each other, specifically for practice and qualifying, just to stop any like I'd say aggressive moves to block.
Anyone with a bit of a grudge.
Yeah. But in race,
You trying to suggest something, Ben?
I have many grudges.
yeah, in race, however, drafting, fair game. Do it through either of the glasses.
And I think we spoke about it quite a bit in the build-up to the last race. Pole position, is it where you want to be in this race? If you're leading down that straight on the first lap, how vulnerable are you to being overtaken?
Well, like we just said, due to slipstreaming, especially on this track, we're expecting to see people reaching well over 200 in a draft pack. However, due to the fact that we've now set on a rolling start for the first time, which is like an automatic start basically, we should have no factors which move the leader out of the lead position going into the first corner. At least that's what I'm hoping for.
You've ruined all the fun. How terrible. But
because of how Le Mans is set up, it needs to have a rolling start. You can't really do with having a standing.
because the Dunlop curve and the Dunlop chicane is a bit too hectic.
Yeah, and having cars starting on the chicane going onto the first lap, that's that's quite an interesting scenario.
So it's a good challenge, but not one we've opted for.
Yeah.
This is a race series for all abilities. We want everyone to have fun at the end of the day, and that's what this That's what this is all about. Stuttering over my words here. But that being said, a bit against the grain. We've also got a championship standing set up, and you're 1 point behind first place, Jason, with 51 points. Ollie has proved to be the king of consistency and is currently in the lead with 2 second places and a third. He's in a different category to you guys today, so do you think he's kind of in a category of his own, or is there anyone who can challenge him? And that might be a question for Ben, actually.
Well, yeah, pass it over to Ben, mainly because Adam is in his class as well, so I'll let Ben take that.
Yeah, he's pretty good, Ollie. I mean, there's really a time you see him outside the top 3 in a race. Sometimes he hangs around 4th and just comes right back at you and overtakes.
Does a bit
you
of a
muck up.
Lando Norris on the last lap and just comes out of
Yeah, he's a bit of a Lando. Not that's a bad thing, because everyone loves Lando Norris, but
So that-
it's a bit of a threat, you know.
Yeah, so that is the battles that we're starting to see. Maybe Jason and Thomas, and Adam's decided to give way to Jason this race and opted for a different category, and is going to keep Ollie for company. And this will be a half points race. Is that what we agreed?
Yes, indeed. We were originally going to have no points, but I just thought, it's not enough. There's not really that many races in the season compared to
Better to have some reward as well.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Just going to say I'm going on to the flying lap now.
Oh, Max, could you please go to Jason? Yes. And,
That's interesting what you're saying about the no points, though, was the original decision, because I was under that impression, hence why I'm not actually driving today. Obviously, I was unaware there was half points, otherwise I may be driving, but oh well.
You've been pranked.
Well,
On the
Jason,
bright side, it means that I can't be punted off by Ben.
True. I will not deny that, nor confirm it.
So, Jason, would you like to talk us through this beautiful lap of Le Mans?
Yeah, so overall, it is actually a really complex track. Although it looks like it's just 1.5 straight, 1.5 squiggly bits. The addition of the chicanes on the backstretch adds an element of spice to it with some overtaking opportunities. But as we get onto the Le Mans straight right now, quite a big run up to the first chicane. You can max out the cars here quite easily, especially with the Kurz battery giving you that extra shunt to just about get you up to 200.
Max, could you bring up the speedo just so we can see for ourselves?
Of course.
Then it's heavy on the brakes, down to around 2nd to gently put it around here, because the thing is, as you brake, your battery obviously recharges, so you've got that extra burst of energy to get you out of the corner quickly, which you've obviously got to control, because otherwise that could spin you out very easily.
And this is also the part of the track where you'll probably have someone right behind you.
Yeah, it's going to be quite an interesting first lap, I reckon. Especially with drafting. Same thing again for that chicane. Being quite conservative as you obviously get to the end of the corner. Don't want to spin your tyres. Right, end of the Le Mans straight here. Heavy on the brakes, down to around 1st or 2nd. Really, really tight corner there, and some really, really, really horrible track limits. You can't really take any of that overrun, so you've got to get the car rotated.
With some horrible barriers as well if you do go wrong.
Yeah.
Now, probably one of my favourite parts of the track, into Indianapolis and Anage.
Yeah, see, you can take this flat out on a really good qualifying lap. However, just a slight dab of the brakes or a slight lift will sort of get you in position to take it on the right-hand side, entering that corner. Little slide as we exit into the Porsche curves. This is a really, really, really free-flowing part of the circuit. You can almost keep it flat through here, apart from the first right-hander, down to 5th. Now you keep it flat.
And is this a part of the track where you get penalised for not having much downforce to compensate for the long straights?
Well, to be fair, I'm actually running very, very little downforce on this car. I think the benefit of being able to reach that higher top speed really outweighs the negatives of having no downforce. As we go into the forward chicanes, take it really slow, use all of the curbs to sort of bridge your way across. Don't get stuck on the outside curb and across the line.
A beautiful lap, and not your quickest time, but a beautiful demonstration of how long the circuit is. 8.467 miles is what we just witnessed. For anyone who is interested, it's crazy how long this lap is, but built for endurance, and this is really where we're going to find out who can maintain their consistency. Because that is what this race is going to be about, just keeping it on the track, out of trouble. And that's where your lap times are going to come.
I feel like I'm going to struggle quite a bit with managing to keep it out of harm's way. Since I've built up a reputation, as soon as people see me, they're going to be like, oh no. So, see how it goes.
The problem child of the GP.
Yeah.
How many
exactly.
spinalas are you going to create today, Ben?
I've already got. You just say that, and I've already just got a pen. So this is going well. This is my outlap, so I can chill. I'll let this.
Oh, hello, Ben.
go. Hello. Would you like to give me a little bit of a help with a slipstream, please? Would you like to help a poor Porsche out?
A little bit far ahead.
Yeah, no slowing down, no love lost between you two.
Well, this is hopefully going to be my qualifying lap next. So. Oh yeah. Porsche, would you like to brake? No. Okay. Goodbye.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to sort of settling into this race. I mean, obviously,
Oh my god.
it'd be quite easy to pick out which car's which in the night. So the light colours.
Yes, it's a challenge that we've never had before. So, like you said, we have quite a lot of firsts for this series today. We've got the first night and day cycle. We are also going to have the first rolling start, as you previously mentioned, and probably the first pit stop as well, because last race, two people tried in the dying stages of the race to come in desperately into the pits as they were running out of fuel, and both of them got into the pits but ran out of fuel before they got to their spot. So we might actually see a completed pit stop this race as well. And Jonathan giving up on that one. I don't know if the cracks in the windscreen are a part of his cosmetic design, but it does look quite cool.
They certainly are now, that's for sure.
Which is true. I thought cosmetic damages got repaired when you return to the pits, but obviously not. And he's not taking the pit lane exit either. He's currently going down the escape road.
So I had a look at this earlier because we had this discussion the other day, obviously, about where the pit exit actually was, and I think there's two. With the one that Johnny taken to then is the far less used one, certainly.
And of course, Ollie's back with his custom livery, the the Corex livery, which is very distinct. It's nice being able to pick out a car by their livery. It's a luxury that I don't have with a lot of these cars. And Ollie is still yet to put in a lap time, so 15 minutes left. Plenty of time for him to get a lap done.
See, Max, I'd like to point out the fact that I made it my mission to go and find out proof that the right side exit of the pit is an access road, not the pit lane exit.
Am I wrong then? Is it an access road?
Yeah, it is.
I was under the impression when I looked at the track the other day in game, because there's traffic lights there, but
yeah, you see, I thought it was I thought it has been used previously, but from what I can tell, I watched the 2018 Le Mans onboards of people coming out the pit lane, and it's all like blocked off. So I take it is actually an access road now.
It could be a pit exit for the Bugatti circuit.
Mm.
Potentially.
Yes.
That would make sense.
Which we did toil with the idea of doing the Bugatti circuit, but we wanted to do something a bit more fun, a bit more adventurous. For the fourth one, you know, we've got a couple under our belt now. And after this is going to be the beautiful Spa circuit, and I don't want to go too far ahead because we probably have got a great race between Jason and Thomas shaping up here. But I am looking forward to Spa. I think everyone looks forward to Spa, no matter what the formula is.
I definitely am, and I'll tell you what, on that note, I've just realised I am in Thomas class, because I have Tomcat, or Tom Bongo Cat, Thomas, and Tom Evans, so this is
So that's going to be terrible shouting out, and it's Tom! on the LMP1s. They're just fighting each other. So we'll think we'll try and stick to Bongo. We'll use Thomas and Tom. Or maybe I'll try and remember Evans. Maybe we'll use his last name. It's not an issue I've ever known to happen in Formula 1 or other forms of motorsport, just having so many drivers with the same name. So we've currently got 3 cars yet to set a time.
Flying lap time. Here we go.
Ben, you are one of those cars without a time at the moment. What's going on?
I'm just winding up for it now. I was just getting nice and warm on my tyres, make sure everything was good. Oh, I've already binned it. That's great.
I mean, it's a very long lap, so it probably is worth just getting a banker in. Because along that line, Jonathan and Ollie are yet to put a timing in as well. Some of the track limits are incredibly... I think they're a bit too aggressive on this game.
Nice and clean through that. Let's keep it that way.
Yeah, Gav, on that note, I'd like to say that compared to games like Assetto Corsa Competizione,
Beautifully pronounced.
I'm pretty sure there's an A that I missed off there. Yeah, we'll never get that right. But compared to that sort of game, the track limits on Project Cars 2 are ridiculously harsh. Because obviously, like the real life Le Mans, watching replays of it, they're allowed to take as much of the corner overrun as they please. And of course, you know, race control doesn't interfere. But if you put, I think the max you can put over is 2/3 of your car on Project Cars 2 before it gives you a penalty, and that's disregarding if it's on a curb or not. So that's where a lot of it comes from.
It's a bit harsh.
It's incredibly difficult to judge, and if that does invalidate your lap time around here, that really stings, because granted, you can jump back into the pits and get back out, but even then, you've still got a 3-minute 30-second out lap before you get to your flying lap. So you've got to be careful, and that's why it's really important to put in a flying lap, or even a banker lap, early into the session, and then work your way down in terms of your time.
Yeah, I believe like the worst part of the circuit is actually the Ford chicane. Right at the end of the lap, you know you're up on your deltas, you're about a second up on your fastest lap, and you put too much of the car over the curb and it invalidates your lap as you come to the finish line. That is the most horrible feeling.
Don't jinx me yet.
Yeah, I'm currently in the pits actually, just watching Thomas's developments.
So also during the practice session, we had an opportunity to talk to some of the drivers, and I think, was it Joel was potentially going to attempt a non-stop for this race?
Yeah, he seems pretty confident about his ability to last the whole way on, you know, one set of tyres. Obviously, with the hard tyre compound, it is possible. It's definitely possible. I'm not too sure on whether he could do it on softs without them just having a massive fall off. But yeah, I'm very interested to see if he can make it work. I'm rooting for him.
I mean, it is a very different element, because the last couple of races we've done, they've been non-stop sprints to the finish. It's very much one set of tyres, one tank of fuel, off you go, get it done on the track. But with this race, there's an opportunity to
Oh,
do
no.
something a little bit special in the pits, something that will catch other people off guard and maybe gain a victory out of nowhere. But I would be impressed if to do a full 15 laps without a pit stop. I think that would be very impressive and maybe a stretch too far.
Yes, especially if you're hammering about on the soft compound, they're going to wear out quite quickly due to the high-speed corners.
But if anyone can do it, Joel's definitely the person who
He
can.
is, yeah. Need
Oh,
to
is it
te-
going all
need
the way
to
down
teach
to the line,
viewers
guys?
about the Joel chicane.
Well, yeah, so it's a good job that we have track limits on, because Joel realised very quickly that you can pretty much ignore the chicanes like they used to do back when it was a massive, over 3 mile long straight, and gain a lot of lap time. But obviously that's not within the spirit of the competition and kind of ruins the whole point of the race. But he is the master of pushing track limits to the limit. And I just wanted to bring up the championship again one more time, as Adam currently in 3rd place with only 2 races under his belt. Jason also missing out on Alton Park due to an injury. It's interesting to see that with only 2 races, you two are both at the top.
Yeah, well, I think we discussed it previously at Brands. You know, Adam, he's a really strong driver. Like, that entire Brands Hatch race, I was looking in my mirror just because of the amount of pressure he can actually put on. So I'd expect some pressure being applied to Ollie and Ben and whoever is in the GTE class. See if Ollie can return the favour.
And I think the thing that would be even more special would be if the GTEs managed to trouble the LMP1 cars at all. I think it would be unlikely, but if anyone could in the GTE class, I think Adam is the one who can maybe trouble the people at the back of the LMP1 class, especially if they run off the track.
Yeah, that's something that sort of the behind the pace LMP1s will have to worry about. The lap times aren't actually too far apart from his 3:55. The next slowest LMP1 is a 3:30.
And, well, I've completely missed it, but Thomas has reclaimed pole position from
wow.
Jason with a difference of 0.2 of a second. More than what we saw in practice. So actually, this is getting excited all over
we're
again.
heating up.
Only 6 minutes left of qualifying, and that pretty much means that you two have either got 1 flying lap in you, or 2 if you're already on the circuit.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's my time to sort of head out and try and do one.
I mean, you've got to
See how
show
it goes.
face at the very least. You have to make that last attempt.
That is why I've been very quiet for the last 3 minutes.
There's Adam and Ollie appearing to bump draft each other down the straight there.
And they're doing a successful job. Actually, a very difficult manoeuvre. As we've seen many, many times in F1, cars trying to slipstream each other, especially around Monza, and getting it wrong. But they seem to be doing a good job. Ollie giving him a very good toe down the full straight. Of course, I would actually expect... was that Adam that we're currently following?
Yes, it is.
I would have expected him to pull out a little bit sooner, especially going into Mosan.
Well, it almost, to me, looked like he was pushing him down the straight to give him a little boost.
Maybe they're helping each
Speed.
other.
Illegal.
Team strategies going on when there aren't any teams. Oh no.
They might be in different liveries, but they're in the same car. Maybe they are helping each other out.
It does look that way now that Adam's backed off a little bit as well.
It does. You are right. It's just giving him a little bump draft. I don't see anything in the rules. That wasn't mentioned in the driver's briefing, Jason.
No, it's perfectly fine. If they can do it to put a good lap together, then by all means.
Well, I know we're in qualifying, but actually I'd say these two are racing as they're now going into an Arge. Adam currently behind, but he was desperately trying through Indianapolis to get around Ollie on the outside, and again, pulling to the outside a little bit, breaking the toe, seeing if they can get ahead. We're now going up to the Porsche curves, and I think they're racing each other, even if it's a qualifying session.
Well, they have to be careful not to get a grid place pen, because if they make contact... Ooh.
Well, I think it's okay now. It's cooled down as Adam's let Ollie pull away into the distance a little bit. But Adam with a reasonable amount of fuel on board, 24 litres, so he's definitely fueled to the end of the session. And we're approaching the point where if you haven't started your outlap, you are not going to get another chance. So, let's see who exits the pit. Currently 4 people left in. I expect they will all be coming out. Or, they might be happy with where they are and are currently just managing their pit strategies. As that is one aspect of this game, you have to have your pit strategies all set up before you go into the race. Jason, if you could just confirm that for me.
Yeah, so you can manage them on the fly, except it won't be in as much detail. Obviously, you can't choose whether you only do front tyres, rear tyres, obviously like your pressures as well. But being able to sort of adjust them to the current scenarios on track is something you can do in the car.
As well as changing your fuel mixture from from rich to lean in case you're running out of fuel and desperately need to make it into the pit lane. And what is the situation with blue flags? How are people going to be respecting lapped vehicles?
So pretty much it's just going to be a case of if you see the lights flashing, please move.
Oh, and Jason, I think we're following you there as you...
Yeah, I was trying to talk and cue the mic at the same time. Wasn't a very good idea.
My apologies, I should have left you to it on that technical part of the track. I'll catch you on the straight. I'll catch you in a bit. So, 4 cars are in the pits. That is them done for this qualifying session, and that looks like the GTE category is pretty much set, unless Ben can get a time in on these last couple of minutes. So, oh, beautiful camera work, Max. You got the hint beautifully there.
Yeah.
So currently, Adam is on pole position for the GTE class. Ollie very close behind, although there are a couple of seconds do split them. Joel is in 3rd place with Jonathan 4th, and we will see where Ben comes when he puts in his flying lap. And all of the LMP1 cars are out, so nothing is for certain yet as Jason and Tom are battling for that pole position.
Yeah, got a bit of a hold up by Rohan sort of taking the outside line into the first chicane, but so far up on our previous lap.
So Ben, is this your flyer or is this the start of your flyer?
Both.
I see you're fueled and staying out. So let's see what this time is.
4:10. Damn it.
So a little bit off the pace, but once again, it's all about consistency going into the endurance race, so don't beat yourself up too much just yet.
I binned it here last lap, so that's why.
And Max, could you quickly check who's in 12th position, who's not yet set a time?
That's Ruben going wide on first chicane.
Oh no, and they're not going to get back.
Sadly, Ruben, the reason he's not set a time is because he actually DC'd, so he sort of had to come back in and try and set one.
Well, this is his last opportunity to do so, and already we saw he's off onto the grass as well. Into Tessa Rouge. Very difficult part of the track. If you get it right, you slingshot onto the straight with plenty of speed in hand. If you get it wrong, you are losing time all the way down the Mulsanne straight. So the session is ended. And Jason, where are you on your lap time? Let's see, currently going into the Porsche curves. I think.
What?
Is this the start?
Oh no, that's
No,
it.
this is the Porsche curves.
That's it. Oh, I binned it. I'm starting 11th.
So Ben, maybe a little bit more practice was needed in the build-up to this event.
Oh, I just got
Ah.
my lap invalidated. Really?
Oh, right at the end.
Oh,
as
has
well.
that ruined it? So all of the excitement building up, seeing where you were going to come, and the race director, as previously mentioned, incredibly cruel, and has taken it away from you.
Do you want to know what that lap time would have been?
Yes, please tease us.
3, 15, 042.
Wow, so we're now on
That
board with
was-
Jason, the pole
That
sitter.
was a blazer. No, but sadly that won't actually put me in pole position. Lap got invalidated right at the end. Don't actually know why. I think it was the curbs.
It looked quite clean from our angle, and Thomas is spinning as well through, I believe, a nage. So that has pretty much brought qualifying to an end in terms of excitement, although we do have Evans out on the circuit and Rowan. I wonder if they'll be able to do anything special. Rowan again into a nage.
Like Tom Evans, they're cutting the corner quite a lot. Whether that's invalidated or not, we don't know.
There's a good spot, and we do wonder, but he's still going for it, so we'll assume not for the meantime. Unless he is just getting those last couple of practice sessions. Seconds, even.
Right. Just gonna drop that final gear just a little bit so I can switch into my final gear a bit earlier. I'm ready to go.
Yep,
So-
as am I.
Just waiting for Evans and Ruben to finish a lap. Evans going into the 4 chicanes. Gets the first one done nicely, and the second one brings it down. Very nice and controlled through there. And that is, well, not an improvement. So that has finished qualifying, and Jason, with his last lap invalidated, gives Thomas pole position. The newcomer
I'm
to the
so
series,
upset.
and wow, this is shaping up to be something special.
Right, I'm going to hop back into the other chat then. I'm going to stay mute and deafened, so I shall catch you after the race.
Well, good luck. I think is all we have to say to you, Jason. And pass
Thank you
on
very
our good
much.
lucks to everyone else in the chat as well.
Will do.
Okay.
So here we are, and it's quite strange seeing a GTE car alongside an LMP1. Two very different cars. They're just a different animal. They're different
After
beasts.
7 laps, no, 6. Oh god, maths.
So, if you've only just joined the stream, welcome to the Circuit de la Sarthe, otherwise known as the home of 24 Hours of Le Mans, and you are going to join us for 50 minutes of this beautiful circuit. 8.467 miles long and roughly 15 laps is what we expect to see. And if you miss qualifying, you miss something a little bit shocking. Thomas coming in, the new boy on the grid, and taking pole position away from Jason, alongside him in second position. Jason's last lap being invalidated. That would have given him pole position, but unfortunately didn't come through for him. Third place is Bongo on the second row of the grid, and alongside them is Tom Evans, both in the LMP1 cars. And we actually have 7 LMP1 competitors, with Rowan and Ruben alongside on the 4th row of the grid. I'm getting a little bit tongue-tied now, so I'm going to slow down a little bit. GTE cars, we seem to have had someone drop out, but Adam and Ollie has dropped out of the GTE category,
yes.
so I'm not sure what's happened to them. We were praising them all the way through for their consistency through the series, but this looks like a DNS. I don't know if they'll be able to join back in. I'm not sure if the session is closed going into the race. And we are away! And that is Joel getting a little bit close there. I believe we're doing a rolling start. So we're not racing yet.
It's already spread out a bit though.
We can't control this.
Okay, so this is all automated. And you hear the klaxon. Let's go racing as Tom pulls away from Jason already. A monstrous lead on this opening lap. And I don't know if there's anything Jason could do. He seems to have been caught napping there. Tom Evans and Bongo Cat fighting side by side. Both called Tom, very difficult to distinguish, but they're holding their positions. And as our position change, we see further back between Ruin and Rowan as Ruben, I believe, gets ahead of Rowan going into the Dunlop curve, and Jason all over the back of Thomas, trying to catch up and maintain that gap, because we are now heading into Tete Rouge, which brings us on to the long straight, and the slipstream is very important down here. Evans and Bongo Cat are side by side, and that is Evans with a beautiful slipstream on Bongo Cat, but I think Bongo Cat just pulled away now. And everyone is having a bit of a gap, so everyone's spaced out quite nicely. I'm not sure what's going on in the GTE category, as that is Bongo Cat catching up to the rear of Jason. A bit of a surprise there. Jason is struggling on this opening lap. I would not expect Bongo Cat to be right up behind him, but he is enjoying the slipstream as Jason starts to pull away. So Thomas with a almost 2 second gap already, and we haven't even got to the second chicane. Absolutely brilliant work by Thomas, exactly the start he wanted. And Bongo Cat going in too deep, and does that bring Evans onto the back of him? I think the gap is way too big. So there must have been a little bit of contact on that opening lap, because Evans has fallen away quite far, already 4 seconds behind, or 6 seconds behind the leader. And now here is a battle. Ben not qualifying where he wanted to, going into the second chicane, looking for a move on Jonathan, pulls to the outside, thinks better of it, dives to the inside of the chicane, which will hamper his exit, and that is allowing Jonathan to pull away down into the Mulsanne Kink. And Max, you're doing a great job of keeping up with these camera angles. It's must be challenging working out what action is on.
Silent with concentration.
But I think we should go to Jason. I think we should go to Jason now, as he is catching up. 4
yeah.
tenths behind. And that's Thomas going wide! Thomas going wide into Indianapolis, and that's given Jason the lead. And that's put Bongo Cat right onto the rear, and again Thomas spinning into Enage, and that's put Bongo Cat into second place. Jason, much like the last race, has been gifted the lead, although Thomas, with much more speed coming out of Enage, takes the second place back. And oh no, 5 seconds Jason has built up on second place already, just that little loss of traction, and he span wide. Max, I'm so glad we got on board with that, to see that just in time.
That's certainly very close. It looked like Bongo went wide there coming down the straight before the Porsche curves. He may have picked up a warning. That could turn into a penalty if he doesn't slow down.
And also, as we see in the background there, I think Martin also going wide.
And Ruben's dropped back a couple of places. He was close to Martin, I believe.
So there's a lot of movement going on. Thomas would be kicking himself. He qualified on pole. He got the job done. 2 seconds ahead before we even got to the second chicane. And he loses it in Indianapolis, which brought Jason right onto the back and close enough to overtake. In fact, Jason was closer than that, so it must have started in Mulsanne.
I believe when all of that was going on, Ben made the move on Jonathan. That must have been going down into Mulsanne.
Easy.
And sorry we missed that, Ben, but there was a lot going on.
Yeah.
Pressure.
So that is Ben up from his qualifying position of 11th now into 10th. Let's see if he can catch up to the back of Joel. And such a shame for Ollie. He was looking pretty good in second place, but it did not start for Ollie.
What the hell?
And Ben is losing control. What is going on?
That is just trash.
Keeping it PG. Nice, Ben. Good job. So Ben losing it on what must have been the Ford chicane. And that is a shame. Max, just for your benefit, the little yellow triangles indicate that the car is 1 second behind the car in front.
Ah, okay, thank you very much.
So that's how I knew, well, I can't see the triangles, but I can see that Jason was very close to Tom, and that's why I said to go and follow that.
It's my first time using a race director live, so it's...
No, you did a great job to capture that. Don't worry.
Going on.
So, on lap 2, incredibly similar to what happened last race at Brands Hatch. where Adam had the lead. He got the lead into the first lap, but then lost it to Jason, and Jason pulled away after Adam made a mistake. Again, it happens. I don't know what it is about Jason, but he seems to apply a certain pressure to the driver, and that just forces them into a mistake, and he gets to breeze by. And I think this is now where we get to settle. We get to settle into the race. And we know Thomas is quicker than Jason, and he is starting to catch him already, as I mentioned that. So let's see what happens. But Thomas isn't losing Bongo. Bongo is sticking right behind. And in fact, I wonder if Bongo's gaining a little bit more. And Adam, managing to keep it clean, he is still the leader of the GTE class. And his lap time is 6 seconds quicker than Joel in second place for the GTE class. So he's in a race of his own. I think he is going to be keeping it clean, but we did mention during the qualifying and practice sessions, Joel is potentially trying something a bit brave in terms of pit strategy. And he plans to run this race from start to finish without pitting, which, from all the simulations that I've done, seems very brave, as I think the fuel is going to be quite close. But if he turns down the fuel mixture from rich to normal, he might be able to do it. So, Adam with a 7 second lead. And Joel behind him.
Seems the gap between Jason and Thomas at the front is fluctuating quite a lot, between 5 and 7 seconds.
I wonder if we go on board with Thomas, whether he will be struggling through the corners, because he seems to have everything you needed on a 1 lap run. But the consistency of a race, the pressure seems to be getting to him, and well, that viewing angle will be quite challenging with all of the cracks, very distracting, but that definitely says he's been off in the barriers somewhere. And as you mentioned, Jason is pulling ahead a 7.4 second gap. So I think, I'm pretty convinced that Thomas has quicker straight line speed, but is maybe struggling, and that's compromising him going through the corners. As we, should we bring up the speedo, Max, and see what speeds he's able to achieve? And actually, something we never mentioned, so the LMP1 cars do have KERS on board. I believe they're deployed automatically, so it's not something the drivers need to concern themselves with. But reaching a speed of 201 miles per hour, and you can see Jason ahead, but he's already in and out of that chicane. But it does give Thomas a target. He can see the person in front, and that is sometimes all you need to motivate you as a driver.
It certainly did seem in that last section with Jason only reaching 198 that Thomas is just that little bit quicker. I know it's not a huge margin speed-wise over that long straight, which we mentioned was about 3.7 miles long. It certainly makes a difference in terms of your lap time.
And when it comes, if it does come to an overtake, Thomas is going to be a bit more favoured down that main straight, as he will be reaching that max speed and would bring him, if not ahead, alongside Jason going into the chicanes. So we just have to sit and hope that Thomas has the patience and the consistency to catch up with Jason. That's Ruben going into the barriers. And is this a battle for position?
If then that's Ruben going past Rowan there.
So 2 people alongside. It looks like that's Rowan having a bit of trouble there with his car going into the barriers. And yeah, he's pulling off to the side. So I'm not sure if he's losing traction, losing power. But he's not having a good race. He's losing control of that vehicle. And that's actually put him below the GT. Oh no, he is in there. Sorry, we're following Jason. Just noticed that Jonathan and Jason both have penalties at the moment. So I must... and as I say that, so does Joel now as well. So I wonder if track limits are starting to come into effect.
Like in the longer race, that's something that's certainly going to be an important factor. Whereas normally the race would be half an hour long, but almost double length now.
Exactly, and with Thomas sticking 7 seconds behind Jason, a couple more of those penalties, and he could find himself in trouble, as we saw in the previous F1 race between Hamilton
Yes.
and Norris. So Rowan looks like he's got control of his car again. He is back up and running, and we are now on board with Joel, who, as we can see there, 72 litres of fuel still on board. I wonder what fuel mixture he's running. That is something that we can't see.
Oh, he'll be running rich, don't worry.
So we have no idea at what point we should be expecting the pit stops. Everyone is completely doing their own strategy, and I don't think we'll see much synchronization. I think it will be very much a bit of a lottery as to when people start to come in.
Yeah, good luck, Max.
Keep me on my toes.
I'm going to assume that the pit signal will come up next to their name. So if there's no no challenges on track, then we will jump to the pits to see
I'm pretty sure, yes.
the pit stop.
Now it looks like in the last lap, Jonathan's taken 4 seconds out of the gap between him and Joel. Whether that's something in a few laps' time, we'll see them battling together. Hope so.
And it is interesting watching the timings jump up and down. I think the straight plays a massive part into that, as at one point Thomas was only 5 seconds behind Jason, but now it got stretched to 7 seconds, as you can see. So they must be in the second chicane now, as we mentioned. And we're now on board with Martin, with Evans in front of him. 6 seconds separating the two, so not a massive gap. We've currently had 12 minutes of this race so far. And there is the fuel load, 46 litres. So Joel's currently at 72, Martin at 46. That gives a slight comparison between the fuel usage between the LMP1 cars and the GTE cars, but also a good indicator of the different strategies that they're running as well. It looks so peaceful when they're out on their own, but honestly they are working very difficult to control the car. They're working hard as we go into Indianapolis, a brilliant corner, but easy to run wide. And I think that's Evans we can see in front. Only 3 seconds now, so he's caught up going through Enage. So Martin and Evans very close to each other actually, with Martin gaining. This is turning into quite a nice little battle. Fingers crossed Martin can keep it together and get right up to the back and maybe look for an overtake, as they're now only 2 seconds separating the two as they go into the Porsche curbs. So we're watching the clock, and we're watching those sector times as they change. And if you haven't noticed, it is now starting to turn into a nice pink hue in the sky as we enter into the sunset stage of the race. And that is Evans up ahead going into the Ford chicanes, and you can see Martin has gained a lot of time, keeping it very nice and clean through there. That was brilliant to see, actually, really well controlled, not getting greedy, not trying to take too much out of the track.
Now it'll be interesting to see as we start to enter into the darker stages of the race, which drivers have remembered to set up the headlights properly on their steering wheels or controllers. Because there's a high chance that maybe 1 or 2 drivers have forgotten to do that, and will be driving around almost completely blind.
And that will also make our job a lot harder as we try and decipher
exactly.
who's who. So Martin going through the Tete Rouge corner, keeping it clean, and now we'll see what kind of speed he's able to achieve as he chases down Evans, who's built up that lead a little bit more, up to 2.5 seconds now. And we can see Martin there flashing his lights, so he's already starting to maybe question whether it's time to put the lights on or not. As we can see, Evans has got his lights on, so he's already made that decision. And there's no negative downside to putting the lights on, so I'm not sure why you wouldn't do it earlier.
I don't know whether Martin was using a touring car strategy there, or flashing his lights to unsettle the driver ahead.
That's a tactic we've seen Jason use quite a few times, especially when overtaking back markers. But they're getting close, this is getting exciting. And is that... Oh, I thought Martin was going in too deep, but it was just a perception there.
Bongo appears to have dropped off the back of Thomas a little bit there. Battle for second place. Well, it was a battle, it's now a bit more of a gap.
So we're now talking about a 12-second gap between Thomas and Bongo. And between that, a 23-second gap between Bongo and Evans. So the LMP1 cars, they've spaced out, and Thomas is losing a lot of time to Jason now, 10 seconds behind. And Bongo Cat going very, very wide. Yes, good spot into Enage. With those horrible barriers, if you do get it wrong, they will catch you out. And that can lead to a very big crash. I know it's something that people like about old circuits, but this track scares me with how close the barriers are and the speeds that the car goes. If you do get it wrong, if you do slide off the track, it's going to be painful.
Now look, to me, Bongo has taken a lot of curb through the first part of the Porsche curves there.
And I wonder if Bongo is someone who's forgotten to set up the lights, as you previously mentioned.
So no signs of them coming on at the moment.
Oh, and a little bit of a drift coming through the first Ford chicane. Well held though. And still, as we're approaching 20 minutes of this race, no one coming in for a pit stop yet. And what a beautiful shot. So now we have that beautiful nighttime shot with the dark sky, the lights. This is beautiful. Maybe we should do more nighttime races. This is pretty cool.
Please no.
Well, we had the nighttime qualifying earlier in the second round at Alton Park.
That's true. I think slightly accidental, but it did look good.
It was certainly a shock, particularly with those touring cars and very, very cold tyres. Having spent all those laps on practice during the day.
And Martin has lost the rear end. Maybe the tyres are falling off. Not sure what tyres they're running. Might be the softs. He was 2.5 seconds behind Evans, but going into the Dunlop chicane, unfortunately they lost it, and that has let Evans run away with a 3.5 second lead. So it's a battle that's heating up, but it's not one that's really happened yet. And it's something that's going to keep tantalising us. Fingers crossed that will turn into something. So Max, I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm not expecting you to know the answer. But let's have a little game. When do you think the first car is going to enter the pits?
Ooh, so that's a tricky one. Oh, as Martin's getting very close there to Tom Evans, actually. Oh, that's Tom Evans going off.
And is that them neck and neck? That is neck and neck as they go down
Martin ahead.
the Mulsanne circuit, and Martin getting into the lead, but Evans is not going to let that go. Going into the Mulsanne corner, he is going to try and pick that up as he doesn't take the toe, which is a very interesting strategy. Looking to the inside, but that allowed Martin to pull away instead of taking the slipstream. Struggling to brake, but he gets it under control, and he's kept it very neat. And I say that the rears light up. He goes out of the corner, and that has allowed Martin to escape, but not a second yet.
Did a very good job not to lose it completely there on the exit of that chicane.
I think the barriers helped him keep it in touch, and now he's flashing the lights, maybe to, well, just let Martin know he's there going into Mulsanne. And keeping it tidy. They know that they need to keep it tidy if they're going to win this race, but he gets onto the grass, and Martin is now pulling away. So it was a battle that happened in a flash. It was a really good catch by you, Max, to catch that on the camera.
It certainly looked like Tom Evans made a mistake through that first chicane, and on the exit of it, Martin was able to get past. It was neck and neck coming back out onto the straight.
And now we just have to see if Evans can catch up. So as I say that, Evans is off through Indianapolis into the gravel trap. keeps it going, but doesn't get back to the track as quickly as he might have liked to have done.
And just as we're saying that, Thomas is the first to enter the pits in second place.
So that's answered our question. The 20-minute mark is where we are going to get our first pit, and that is Tom.
Just to answer your question though, I was going to say it'd probably be another 10 minutes. I was thinking that a lot of them were going to play it safe.
Well, that's funny. I was going to say now. Definitely, I was going to say now.
Of course you were.
I am joking. But that has allowed Bongo into second position as we are waiting to see where Thomas comes out. So Bongo now into second position without any lights on his car. He is in stealth mode.
I believe he just lapped one of the GTE cars there.
And well, let's ask Ben. Ben, have you been lapped yet?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I've had multiple crashes, guys. Don't you?
That's a shame to hear. I wish you were up on the back of Jonathan, giving him some trouble.
Oh, I'm getting there. I'm trying to get there anyway.
Thomas still in the pits there. Martin's gone past him now.
So this is
So
a
he's
very
just
long pit stop.
I'm losing a lot of
With the
traction
left
right
back
now.
pit stop, you've got to look back at the GTE cars and just think Joel only 10 seconds behind Adam. In fact, I think he's closed the gap slightly in the last few laps. With Joel, if he was able to make the zero stopper last work, he's looking in a very good position at the moment.
Yeah, and well, that's Thomas now with 62 litres of fuel on board. So
It's certainly a lot.
it doesn't sound like a lot. I do question if that's enough to get to the end of the race, or whether he's
really?
doing a two-stop strategy. 30 minutes remaining of this race. That's a reasonable portion. We're not halfway yet.
So I haven't done enough long runs on this to know what the fuels are. Just from the other races, 62 is a lot more than we've ever run.
There's a massive difference between the GTEs and the LMP1s.
Yeah.
So we now have something exciting. We have Thomas chasing down Martin, which is a battle, I gotta be honest, I didn't think we would see during this race.
No. Of course, heavily influenced by the pit stops, which appears to have cost Thomas about a minute.
Which is a really long pit stop. So as Jason was telling us, they have to do the fuel and then they do the tyres, so they cannot work on the car as a whole. They have a series of stages that they have to work through. And Thomas is now looking a lot more in control of that car. A new fresh pair of boots on his car, and away he goes. So we now wait for Jason's pit stop, and not to take away from your answer, Max, I think in 10 minutes we will probably see Jason come in around when you said he would.
I believe Joel, I think after saying he's very close and potentially in the shout for the lead, he's made a mistake, and Jonathan's right on the back of him.
You're correct, so 7 tenths between the two as we go down the Mulsanne straight, and that is an LMP1 car flying past a pair. And I don't think Jonathan took full advantage of the LMP1 car trying to get that slipstream, going out really wide there, and he goes in deep into Mulsanne, and I think that's going to allow Joel to pull away, but this is going to be a battle for the 9th position, the battle of J's.
That's unfortunate for Joel there, saying he had a gap of about 10 seconds. That's now been extended to 35 between him and Adam, who's leading the GTE cars.
I don't think anyone really questioned whether Adam would be challenged, especially when Ollie dropped out. But Jonathan struggling to keep it clean into Indianapolis, took too much off the curb, now into one of the slowest corners on the track, Anaj, and again going over the curb, not using all of the exits. So Jonathan's doing his best to stick behind Joel. They are a second between the pair.
As Bongo's just entered the pits, so we should see Martin moving up in second place soon.
And it'll be interesting to see how much time he loses and where he comes out. Does Thomas claim back a position on Bongo Cat? You would expect them to, but it's all about how long they fuel for. And Joel going a little bit wide through the Porsche curves, and Jonathan is now catching up again, really in the back of that slipstream. Only 3 tenths splitting the pair. Jonathan maybe going too fast, trying to gain up too much time. That's brought him.
Joel's going on the grass though.
Oh, they're both a bit all over the place, struggling to keep the car on the racing line. But we've now gotten through that technical high-speed complex and into the Ford chicanes we go. That's Joel braking. I think Jonathan braked a little bit later, and that's brought Jonathan onto the back, and he spins! He loses control! And for the sake of everyone in the chat, that is a spinella. And what a shame.
See Jonathan completely off camera there. He's eventually coming back on.
Oh, and Joel can breathe a sigh of relief, as I'm sure he saw that move coming in his rearview mirrors. I think the aerodynamics there just unsettled the car for Jonathan, and he just lost control. Too eager on the accelerator. Should have kept it patient and waited for the long straights.
While we're viewing these two, Bongo's exited the pits and come out behind Thomas.
And there
Thomas
is,
must have had a very good outlap to reclaim that position from him.
and it is roughly a 14-second gap between the pair, so Thomas comfortably reclaims that position. And now we wait for Martin to pit. And I feel like I'm reading the timing screens wrong, but is that a minute between first
Jonathan
and
should have
second
gone
place?
past Joel. Joel come very slow there coming out onto the main straight.
Sorry, so what have we missed? Jonathan and Joel battling?
Yeah, Jonathan just went straight past Joel. It looked like he made a mistake coming out to the straight. That's going to really hamper him with the long run down to the first chicane.
And as we were following that on board, Joel once again was knocking at the Armco barrier there.
And another driver into the pits, that's Rowan.
And once again, they're a second apart. Jonathan is spinning through the first chicane, and Joel is once again claiming 9th position. Jonathan will be kicking himself. It must be time to come into the pits now and change those tyres. He's clearly struggling for traction as we've passed the halfway mark. And once again, Joel breathes a sigh of relief as he reclaims 2nd position for the GTE category.
Does Joel have a problem here? He's stuck in 2nd gear.
Maybe he's been told to give back the position. Now that would be crazy from the race director, but it looks like he is giving the position back.
See Jonathan alongside.
Also really slow here, so I don't know what these two are up to.
Unless they're just trying to have a race with themselves, I don't know.
I do not believe that would be the case.
Giving us something to watch here. Jonathan refusing to overtake Joel. Joel refusing to accelerate away. I'm not quite sure what's going on. This looks like a parade lap. Has their race finished prematurely? What's going on?
It's almost reminiscent of Monza qualifying last year in Formula One.
Both of them.
Neither
No
driver
use, sir.
wanted
No
to go ahead
use,
of the
sir.
other.
Everyone begging the other to go first. It does look like that. This is bizarre. And that is going to be a trouble for the cars behind.
That's Ben closing in on them now
Coming back from the
as
depths.
we go on board.
I've crashed, I think, 6 times now.
Well, don't worry. You have these two on a parade lap as they enter into Mulsanne.
What are they doing?
So Jonathan is still behind Joel.
Our fuel.
They're not, though. That's the
They're
problem.
not on the.
They're not.
They're suddenly starting to speed up, or Jonathan is at least.
No, I think they've realised Ben's in the mix, and there he is, taking both of them out of Mulsanne. They're now going into Indianapolis, a very tricky corner when being chased down. Let's see if Ben can keep it clean. As he's previously mentioned, he's had a couple of incidences this race, and he is missing a headlight just to prove it. And that is also Joel on the back of Jonathan. And Jonathan goes in
Very
with too
wide.
much speed, and he looks to take out Ben, and he does! Major contact into Indianapolis, and Ben rejoins the track, hits Joel, but not really his fault as he just tried to control the car, and that has left Jonathan far in the background where he belongs after that daring move. That was not a racing attempt to overtake. That was just a dive to take out Ben. But now Ben is looking to overtake Joel going into the Porsche curves. And does he have the speed that he needs? As an LMP1 car is also coming up behind them. They'll have to be aware of that. And Ben getting onto the grass, which has allowed Joel to pull away a little bit. But we have seen Joel struggle through this section. And now Ben with one of the race leaders ahead as he pulls to the side, very
I
respectful.
believe that's Jason.
And easily ahead of Ben, but now he has to get past Joel as well, who has been known to be a troublesome one. And I think we're seeing it now And that's
Jason goes
Jason.
into the pits.
Very, very sensible move from Jason. He thought better of battling Joel. They, of course, have had contact in the past when Jason was trying to overtake, and he thinks, I'm going to avoid this battle altogether, and comes straight into the pitch. You see the crew come out now. That's quite a nice little animation.
Yeah, we actually see Jason entering the pits from Ruben just leaving, holding his position. I believe when we had that battle with the 3 GTE cars at the back of the pack, Thomas has reclaimed second place from Martin.
And
Obviously
correct,
Thomas-
yes,
What
he
the
has.
hell are you doing, Jonathan?
Obviously Thomas lost that position purely from his pit stop.
And Adams keeping it very tame going through the chicane.
Having a very quiet race on his own.
So, one thing to mention, it is half points for the category, so Adam will be getting 12.5 points, but Joel currently is set for what I think is, and I'm struggling to do the maths whilst talking at the same time, 7.5 points. No, 18. I'm doing this all wrong. 8 points, maybe 16 points for second. Ah, I'm going to stop talking. Max, cover for me. I keep digging
So, yeah.
myself a hole.
It's okay, Gav. I
where
believe
you
is that Rowan closing in on Ruben. I'm struggling to tell, the timing screens have changed a little bit. I'm not sure what the numbers mean at the moment.
No, that's what caught me off, because I was trying to work out why it was saying a minus lap time. It was saying a negative difference, and I was trying to work out how that could be.
Having some timing issues. And Jason's now come out of pits, only 4 seconds ahead of Thomas. So Thomas had a very
Oh,
good...
wow. So it's
start to
game
the pit.
on once again. So Thomas with a good eye on the track. His tyres are warm. He knows his fuel load. He knows his grip levels. He has had time running in clear air, as has Jason, it's worth noting. But with the fresher rubber, he's been able to chase down Jason, and now to a 5-second gap. What once, well, it was once up to what must have been 20 seconds with Jason
I believe so.
in clear air and Thomas having all of that trouble.
There's Tom Evans coming into pit as well.
So
And
I
as
still
you can see
don't
from
think-
the on-boards, Thomas is running significantly less fuel, having pitted earlier than Jason, which leads me to believe you may be right, and Thomas might not have enough fuel to get to the end, unless if Jason's overfueled.
Well, it's 20 minutes left to go. How much did Jason have on board?
Jason's running 58.
So it's only 20 litres, which is not a lot. That doesn't sound like an amount that's worth coming into the pits for. I wonder if Thomas will just change the fuel mixture and run a little bit lean as we go into the end stages of the race. Because that was a lot of time to sacrifice in the pits for a 2-stop strategy. That might see him fall behind Martin if he commits to it for another pit stop.
Now, I was the impression that Martin, running with 10 litres of fuel, hasn't pitted yet.
That is a very good spot as well.
Yeah,
I think this is the lap he'll be pitting. You
was
probably
be cutting
could
it
get
very
one more.
close. And you'd hope after his incidents last week with fuel that he'd have learned his lesson and will come into the pits this time. Fortunately, at Le Mans, there are no tyre barriers to catch you out on the entrance.
But there is that nasty chicane which might catch him out. Most of the drivers in this series are used to just hitting the start button and returning to pit box. They're not used to actually taking the pit lane entry. So I do wonder if he has practiced it at all, or whether he's even considered the impact that would have on his race. And it looks like Joel and Jonathan have really given up the ghost here, as Ben is now second place in the GTE category
Oh no.
with a
Oh,
nice
no.
lead ahead of both. But as I say that, we hear a noise from Ben, and Ben, are you in trouble?
Maybe.
Ben's gone wide on the final chicane. I think that's Joel's gone through.
And Joel very cleanly gone through, but that's
Or is
actually
Ben
Ben
pit even?
coming into the pit. So the first of the GTE
Very
cars to
misleading.
pit.
I just sustained a little bit too much damage. Tyres and everything, so.
He
Just
doesn't see
chill
whether
out.
Martin pits here. He doesn't.
That's a brave decision. And I'm not sure if it's something that I would be an advocate for. He
Only
is
7
running.
litres of fuel.
He is running that fuel limit down to the wire. 7.5, I think. if you change the fuel mixture, I think that would be okay. I think he'll be able to get around, but very, very interesting strategy.
Of course, Martin used 3 litres of fuel there almost, just between Mulsanne, the final corner after the straight.
And you do use a lot of fuel powering down that straight.
It could be very close for Martin. I'm sure he's desperate not to have a repeat of last week.
Well, I think we can watch this and just clench our arms, wondering if he is actually going to make it to the pit stop. Just entering the Mulsanne straights now, and he is already down to 6.3 litres.
It's going to be very close.
So let's play another game, Max. Where do you think he's going to run out of fuel? I think I'm gonna say maybe on entry to Indianapolis.
I was thinking Arnage, so...
Oh, so similar part of the track.
Yeah.
Very similar. So we'll go closest wins. If it's before Indianapolis, I win. If it's after Arnage, you win. And he is now overtaking Jonathan with ease, as you would expect from an P1 car. Jonathan giving him plenty of room.
So if our figures are correct, if Martin has a bit over 3 litres at the end of the straight, he should have enough fuel, to get him back to the pits. But he's looking like that could be cutting that very, very fine at the moment.
This is one of those strategies where it's hero or zero. You've either played it to a T and got it perfect, or you're going to look like a complete fool when you get back into the pits at the end of the race.
So Tom Evans has come into the pits. I think he's already gone for his pit stop. Is he not?
I don't believe I've seen him come in yet.
I think it's very confusing with all the Toms.
It does
There we
look
go,
quite
Martin coming
challenging.
off the... Ooh, it's a very slow moving LMP1 car
So
there
that
with
must
Martin.
maybe
Martin.
Rowan, perhaps?
Yes, I believe it is. There's a bodywork flying off there as we switch to him.
So he must have had a little bit of an off, and he,
Oh,
I think he's just
hit
got shunted
high.
there.
Jonathan. Oh,
That's a bit all over the place there. I'm not sure what's going on.
well, I don't believe it is Jonathan, pardon me. I think... Oh, it's Joel. It's Joel and Rowan. As
Oh
Rowan
my.
spins across the track, having got air.
And now is Rowan's rear wheel gone. That is lagging up my my game there. Not expecting that kind of. And now he's ghosted. So Rowan's ghosted as contact I think happened there as well.
As Martin's coming closer and closer towards the end of the lap. He's made it past Indianapolis and Arnage, I believe, or is he just approaching them now? No, he's got past him. He's entering the
No,
Porsche
so
curves.
he's in the he's in the Porsche curves. And this race is rather challenging when everyone's so spread out, trying to pick out where people are.
I think there's Tom Evans and Ruben
And that
there.
is a battle for Evans and Ruben for 6th position, I believe. 5th position even. So 7/10 of a second between the two, down at the Mulsanne straights. I think we're going to assume that Martin has made it into the pits. And that is
He's
Evans
got
going
into
in deep. And that
Yes,
would have lost him a lot of time.
There's a marker. Martin has made it into the pits this time. Cutting it very fine indeed.
I wonder how much fuel he got down to. That must have been tense as he was driving in the cockpit. There's no way he timed it that perfectly. So we're back on board with Evans battling Ruben for 5th position
Evans
in the
braking very
LMP1
late.
category. Oh, and Ruben also drifts out wide out of the chicane, so both of them making mistakes, and Evans is right on the back, along the rear bumper, and now alongside as we go down the second part of Mulsanne.
Ruben's off the wall.
And a massive crash! A massive crash, bodywork flying everywhere! And I have no idea, Max, did you see what started that collision?
I don't think there's any contact. I believe Ruben just got out of shape. Whether they got very close and Ruben swerved to avoid contact, it's possible, but it didn't look to me like they touched.
And of course, both of them now missing all of the necessary bodywork that a real car would need. It does look beautiful though, looking at the rear part of the LMP1 car.
So I see a lot of details gone into the car models themselves.
Just to make it more spectacular when you crash.
Well, speaking of crashes, oh no, that is absolutely terrible stuff. I can't quite pick out the drivers, but Jonathan pulling across the track. He's
think
only
that's some
1
LMP1 car that came
second
across there.
behind Joel. And yeah, he made contact with an LMP1. So 10 minutes left of this race, and we're seeing
I believe that's
struggling.
Rowan
Is that?
going up the inside there.
I can't pick out which LMP1 car that is.
That's Rowan after his instance with Jonathan. He's lost every single piece of his bodywork.
And he appears to be giving Joel a bump the whole way down the straight.
Is that Tom Bongo, I believe, or...
So this
Very
is our
difficult to
third place at the moment. Bongo, 20 seconds either side of him. He has a beautiful position.
I know
on
he's
the track.
further ahead of them. There's an LP1 car. I'm just trying to find out who that is. I think that's Martin, if we come on board with him.
Yes, it is. A good spot, as we now have Jonathan going across.
Jonathan running
Chicane.
deep, Joel running wide.
Rowan
going
on the
off.
inside,
Oh.
now with a burst of acceleration, gets past Joel.
Martin probably very nervous here. He's trying his best to get past him.
He's
for as
doing
quick
his
as possible.
best, and thankfully he has escaped the lion's cage, and he now can run away from that battle, because that is a terrifying place to be. It's literally the cat amongst the pigeons between those three.
Joel doing very well not to hit the back of Rowan as Rowan cuts the inside of the corner.
And I'm pretty sure Rowan is not trying to pull away here. He is just toying with them.
It's certainly very confusing what's going on. I mean, Rowan is a lap ahead of them. Whether he just hasn't quite got the confidence to go past Jonathan, despite the fact Jonathan is much further down the orders.
Well, he definitely
Just
has
like
the
that,
ability,
Rowan goes past.
and that's
Oh,
Martin.
I don't even know what's gone on there.
And we just saw Martin there, who hasn't really pulled away that much.
And there's more contacts between the three of them back here.
It's just
You
bumper
can't take your
cars.
eyes off them because you don't know what's going to happen.
More importantly, you don't know how the game's going to render it, whether one car's going to end up halfway in the sky. And they are
Jonathan
properly
coaching him
side by side barging each other off the track. It's descended into chaos amongst the two.
The 50-minute race proving far too long for some of them to keep their concentration.
With, well, I must say, with all of this going on, Ben, I'm struggling to believe why you're not on the back of this.
Because when I pit stop, for some reason they didn't change my tyres, so I'm trying to preserve them. Because I'm going deep everywhere.
Just saw that, yes.
So we just came on board. So Thomas must have taken all of the life out of his tyres, because there is now a 30-second gap between him and Jason.
Rather interesting, Bongo's closed up a large amount, I believe. I think Thomas isn't running quite as fast as he'd like to at the moment.
Well, actually, you mentioned about his fuel load being quite low, so if we go on board, I wonder what his fuel load is.
19.9 and Bongo's on 19.3, so they're very close together, but only 6 minutes remaining.
So we're looking at maybe 3 laps most remaining in this race, and I think you're right. I think that will be enough to get onto the end of the race, as Martin proved with his very, very
Yeah, I mean, Martin did a
close
lap
pit
and a
stop.
half with 10 litres.
So if
So they've
it
got
does
almost
run
double when they've got
more-
to twice the distance. So I think it's going to be very close.
Actually, you mentioned that. So if Jason does manage to cross the line before the countdown ends, then they will be doing 3 laps more, and that will be more than what they can afford to do. So Jason, perfectly fueled with his pit stop, he came in around the halfway mark of the race, and he makes this look too easy. Every
Certainly
time in
does.
qualification, we think there's someone who can bring a battle to him. And then during the race, it all goes a little bit wrong, and Jason just pulls out a tremendous lead.
Despite the fact that Thomas put a quicker lap in both practice and qualifying right at the last minute, Jason's just got the consistency to pull away.
And we were all thinking he was the new one on the grid, and for a rookie race, that would have been absolutely beautiful to have seen a new winner in this series. But I think we need to get Adam and Thomas on the same page, and maybe they can deploy some team tactics, because currently no one's able to stop Jason.
It certainly would have been interesting to see what Adam and possibly Ollie could have done if they were in the same class in LMP1.
Well, that is the question, because of course last race at Brands Hatch, Adam was able to out-qualify Jason, and with Thomas out-qualifying Jason as well, that would have put him on the second row of the grid. So if they were all in the same category and Jason on the second row of the grid, he might not have had the luxury of getting ahead. With 2 cars he needs to overtake, that would have made it much more challenging for him.
Going back to the potential fuel issues that may face Thomas and Bongo in second and third, is that Jason's in the first sector of the lap at the moment, with just under 5 minutes to go. Finishing this lap, he could get another one in. Well, he should get another one in afterwards. And so we're looking at another 2 laps almost, and both Thomas and Bongo on
I think
15
you're
litres
right.
of fuel roughly.
I
think they're going to struggle.
So what is Martin currently running? Because he is in a position to
He's
potentially
running
get...
33.
He might get second place.
He's less than a minute behind Thomas, isn't he?
He's got quite a bit of time to catch up. It all depends how long they spend in the pits, because they have to have predefined pit strategies. And if they come in, they may end up being fueled to the full brim of the tank, and that will really slow them down, not only in pit time, but on the track as well. And Martin might find himself up into at least third, maybe onto the podium.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if Ben can shine any light on this for us, whether the pit stops, if you've only got one designated stop and you have to make a second, does it fill you up all the way to the top, or does it just do what you did in the first one?
Yeah, it fills you all the way. It just, if you don't have a pit strategy, that's worth. But if you haven't designated 2 different pit strategies, then it'll just fill you up.
So it's going
So it'll take more time and you'll be heavier.
It's looking quite poor for both Thomas and Bongo now, or whether we're going to see them slow down possibly.
Well,
Try to do
that
one
is
this lap.
the other part of the equation. Can they just alter their fuel mixture, and will that be enough?
Obviously, they haven't got the information that we have to see what the other drivers are doing and how long that fuel's lasting. And when you're driving, you're concentrating on your lines, not necessarily at the moment on whether you're going to make it to the end. And without anyone in their ears telling them, I think they might not realise.
So we
It's
have
too late.
3 minutes remaining of this race. Thomas getting a little bit squirrely into
And going off
the
what
song.
we found from Martin with that 10 litres at the same corner of Thomas only having 1 extra litre more than him, I think it all just depends on when Jason finishes.
Oh, this is great analysis. This is all very true, and this is starting to make me a little bit excited. We might have a repeat of Brands Hatch. 2 cars in the pits, and this isn't really worth talking about because they have just made it into a bumper car category.
Rowan going backwards there and just reversing across the 2 chicanes.
And is that Jason trying to come through there?
I believe it's Tom Evans.
It's Tom Evans, correct.
Probably wondering what on
He's
the earth
behind
is
by
going
about
on here.
20 seconds. Where we are currently.
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Destruction Derby, this section of the race. Evans being very sensible there, not getting anywhere close to these 2 and hoping just to power through as they both stick to their racing line, which they do, but Evans does go onto the grass a little bit. Not enough
Just
to
managed to
trouble
hold
him,
it.
though. Exactly, yeah, not enough to trouble him. But he does go onto the
Over
gravel.
here. But still, with the superior power of the LMP1's car, still pulling away despite those mistakes. Obviously, somewhat helped by Joel and Jonathan's driving techniques.
Oh, come on.
Which is
Ruben
reminiscent of them
also
thinking they've
letting
put
him
up Wreckfest instead of Project Cars.
Well, maybe that could be another series that we get going, a Wreckfest series, but for now, let's focus on the remaining minute and 20 seconds of this race. And Martin comfortably in 4th position, but can he find his way onto the podium positions with only 8.5 litres remaining? And we are going to do another lap.
At least possibly. There's Jason down on the back straight through the first chicane there.
Seems unlikely.
So I think if they do put themselves into a lean mixture, I think they will be fine.
Yes, because they're currently on the road. They are behind Jason. Nice. The thing I wonder is, have we never done, or have we done the timed races before?
So no, that's
Or is it
exactly
a lap?
another point. So
It's gonna
we
be a +1 lap.
exactly. So we have three first time events in this series happening in this race. The first night and day cycle that went as quick as a flash. We are back to the glorious sunshine. The first pit stops in the race. We've had the first completed pit stops take part, and also the first time race with only 9 seconds remaining as we count them down Let's see if we can find where Jason is on the track. I think that is coming out of Mulsanne.
I believe so.
So half of the track remaining, and this is a breeze for Jason now. 30-second lead on second place.
Clock now reaching 0.
So
Oh, a bit of contact now. I believe that was Ruben straight off into the gravel.
was that Ruben? I think it might have been Martin.
I think it's Ruben. We're just on board with Martin further back on the Mulsanne straight still.
Ah, yep.
We were very lucky that Jason didn't get taken out completely. That would have been devastating right at the end.
Well, with a 30-second lead, I wonder if he would have had enough to get back on. That is the luxury.
He probably would have done, of course.
It's the luxury he's built himself. But obviously, a couple of words will be had after the race. You never appreciate, and it was Bongo, I think. No, because he has the rear of his car. It was a car with the rear
Bongo's
missing.
not close enough. And I believe Bongo's picked up a penalty recently. I think we didn't pick up on it before.
Well, unfortunately, I can't see the penalties as they come through.
And
But
Jason
as we now
pushed the
stick
lap.
with Jason, he goes through the 4 chicanes, and we don't yet know if there's an extra lap. But he takes the final corner, and is this the race win as he's flashing his
He
lights?
certainly thinks so.
He thinks it's all over, and that is race complete. So, once again, for the third time, Jason is the race winner at Le Mans Circuit. And we are going to have the newcomer, Thomas, in second position. He put up a good battle. He made it exciting into the qualifying sessions and practice sessions, going first, fastest.
And having just enough fuel to get over the line as well. Only 2.4 litres remaining. Back to Bongo, and it looks like he should make it as well. Saw that late excitement from Martin there, hoping that he could potentially claim second place. It's now disappeared.
Unfortunately so. So both of them getting across the line. But that is Bongo with a third place. A position that he would be very glad to have received after his incidences in Brands Hatch. He's felt a bit hard done by, but he has come home in third, a very, very respectful position, especially in the LMP1 category. And Martin, another respectable performance in fourth position.
I missed the 4GT.
So Ben, do you regret your decision?
The car just seemed really slippy when the weight was shifting from right to left to right, especially at the top of the Dunlop S's. It was really, really rolling, and it just put me into spins every single time. It was so annoying. I was just fighting the back spell the whole time. So, yeah.
The
thing to bear in mind though, Ben, is that you were using a controller the last time we used the GTE cars.
Yeah, that is true.
As we see Adam here approaching the end of his race in the lead of the GTE category.
So, congratulations to Adam. Again, flashing the lights, wiping the blades, and that is his second first place position for his category.
Right, shall we grab them in for an interview?
So, I think we will. I'll server mute them first, although I don't have that ability anymore. So I won't. Ben, are you able to bring them in?
Why don't you have... I shall. Who is the top three?
So, top three, we'll do LMP1, is Jason, Thomas, and Bongo Cat.
Jason...
Thomas, who I don't think
he's here, and Bongo. We'll just grab Bongo then.
Let's grab Adam in as well for the first place of the GTE category.
Sure. There you go. Right.
So, hello all three. We have a mixture. We have first and third for the LMP1 category, and we have first for the GTE category. And shall we start with Jason, as always? Hello. First place position.
Yeah, I got to say that was quite a good race actually. I enjoyed that. a lot.
So that was the first endurance style of race that we've done. What was the main challenges and differences between that and what we've previously done?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it comes down to your setup of the carts. You know, like if you obviously run with a more aggressive setup, you're going to lose your tires quicker. You're going to run out of fuel quicker. You're not going to be, consistent. So I think backing the car down from a quali setup to an endurance setup is quite, it's interesting to say the least. I mean, I definitely didn't have the pace I had in qualifying.
Oh no, and someone else who didn't have the pace from qualifying was Thomas. You were gifted the lead there. What was going through your mind when you saw Thomas go off?
Well, to be fair, I was surprised he went that deep into Indianapolis. I was sort of, I was being conservative and going to take the proper line round there. But as soon as he went deep, I was like, oh dear, I better not hit him because otherwise that's going to make it worse for both of us.
Well, you claimed the lead there and you ran off into the distance, so congratulations, Jason. I think we'll now move on to... I forgot who came in third. Bongo.
Hello.
Congratulations, welcome to the podium.
It's nice to be back.
So how was that race for you? In the LMP1 category, a beast of a car to control, and you seemed to do a good job of it.
Yeah, I knew in this race I wasn't going to quite have the pace of Jason or Thomas, so I knew my best bet was just to keep it consistent and stay quick, and that's what I tried to do throughout the race. I did try and stay with them at the start, and I was doing all right, but when Thomas came off, I ended up bumping when I came back on, so I let him go back through to have his position, because I felt I didn't want to do a bump and run on him.
Well, I was going to ask you about that, because you were battling Thomas at the opening part of that race. Did you expect to be even in that position?
The strength of the Audi is always its high top speed. Down the Mulsanne straight, I was hitting almost 210 miles an hour, which is about 10 miles an hour faster than the next quickest. So I knew that was kind of my best chance to get close, was to just slipstream down that straight and hopefully fly past. But I knew once we kind of settled in, and especially around the later section of the lap, I always run out of electronic DRS. So I knew that I was going to have to try and make a move early, but after that it was kind of don't try and fight it, just stay consistent, and if they make mistakes I can then capitalise on it.
And how was the pit stops for you? Because we thought you were getting quite close to the fuel limit at one point.
It caught me out. I forgot to change my fuel from the rich to the standard mixture, so I left it a lap longer, so I had to pit slightly earlier than I was anticipating, which then meant I was kind of grinding my teeth on that last lap, hoping I didn't run out.
Well, you didn't, and you came home in third, so congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll now move on to Adam, who you're getting quite used to this podium lark, aren't you?
Hello. Yeah, it's I'll take the win. It wasn't the win I wanted, because sadly we lost Ollie at the start of the race, and I thought he was my closest competitor. I was hoping we could have quite a good race, but yeah, sadly he dropped out just before we started and sort of gave me the win, unfortunately. But I mean, I'll take the points. More than happy. The car was, gosh, she was a feisty one. She stepped out a lot, so I got a bit nervous every time the LMPs tried to come past, but we got through without any dramas, and yeah.
So I have to give you a little bit of stick, because you kind of took the easy victory here. Why did you not opt to fight Jason and the new upcoming Thomas?
So honestly, I didn't think these points would go towards the main championship, and I thought, do you know what, I should have a nice easy break this week. But I don't know, I regret it now not going for it. I thought they'd be just a bit too much for me, because I haven't had a chance to get too much practice in this week. But I should have just gone for it. Yeah, I'm a bit sad about that one, but it is what it is.
I won't. We'll call you the professor for now, taking the points rather than going for out-and-out race victories. But honestly, nothing wrong with that. And like you said, you were expecting a battle with Ollie, so it's such a shame he dropped out. Do you think you would have been challenging them in the LMP1 cars? Obviously, the 24 Hours of Le Mans circuit is a very challenging circuit to master.
It is. See, I haven't really ever driven Le Mans properly before. It's always been quite a big one, so I haven't really put the hours in. But of course, this week I've been a bit tight on practice time, so I thought they'd be just a bit too much to handle. So I don't think I'd be near Jason's pace. But no, I'd like to think that I might have gotten near Tom. We could have had a nice little battle, but we'll never know.
And well, I don't know if you got to experience it much, but what was your thoughts on the Destruction Derby that was happening behind you?
I managed to pull away. Do you mean the other GTEs?
I unfortunately do. So Joel and
Yeah.
Jonathan, Jonathan was doing really well at one point, and I think both Adam and Jason would have experienced it as well. They somewhat turned it into a Destruction Derby at the end of the race there.
Oh yeah, no, I did hear them laughing away and joking about that. But no, yeah, I just sort of cracked on first lap, but we all sort of ended up quite evenly spaced out. And yeah, after that, I was just sort of running my own race.
So Jason, I'm going to you now. We're moving to Spa for the next race. What cars are on offer?
I believe we are. Well, we did the car swap from what was originally going to be GTEs at Spa and then Formula Renault at Monza. We swapped them round. So yeah, Formula Renault will now be at Spa next week.
And are we all excited for that? I'll go to Adam
My
there. Do you excited to be back on the same category?
Yeah, sort of. It just means I have more people to contend with, and that's one, more interesting because it means I can make more ground and feel better about myself when I fall down the grid. Two, yeah, it's just scary because Jason's going to be lapping me, but that's fine.
Well, you never know. You might surprise yourself.
Yeah, well, hopefully.
So thank you everyone for joining us. That will bring an end to the race, and that is the 4th stream done and nailed. And as we look at the champions, that has now put Jason into the lead. So congratulations, Jason, on claiming the lead from Ollie, who unfortunately gets a did not start, his first did not start of the season.
Oh, lucky
So,
Ollie.
Thank you everyone for watching, thank you everyone for taking part, and we hope to see you at the next event. Goodbye for now.